Trafficking is not limited to, migrants. Anybody can be a victim of trafficking.
As the fight against the coronavirus continues, so does the battle against human trafficking at the border, and it's Homeland Security Special Agent Scott Brown's job to stop it. He's part of a team of investigators who work to keep traffickers from preying on victims, and online solicitation is still the #1 tactic.
What we found is the pandemic, while initially had some deterrent effect, people being afraid, particularly in the area of sex trafficking, to take those enhanced risks due to COVID-19. Unfortunately, people's appetites for illicit behavior and willingness to victimize quickly came back.
Brown also says there's a misconception about human smuggling and human trafficking that should be clarified.
Human smuggling and human trafficking are two separate and distinct crimes, but people can be smuggled for the purpose of being trafficked. Smuggling is a crime of transportation involving illicitly crossing the border. Trafficking is a crime of force, fraud, and coercion for labor or for sex.
So what exactly are the drivers that can lead a victim into trafficking?
Smuggled migrants do tend to be some of the most vulnerable people in our society. They don't have the social networks, they don't have the resources. Oftentimes there's a language barrier. They're afraid of law enforcement in many ways, both from experiences in their home country and their perceptions about U.S. law enforcement, including U.S. immigration authorities.
There are also some dark and shocking realities that fester in the multi-billion-dollar illegal business, including parents abusing and selling their own kids or other relatives doing the same thing. But there are some telltale signs, especially if you see a group in a van or RV.
Some of the things are, afraid to speak for themselves, traveling with persons that doesn't make sense that they're traveling with, providing what is clearly rehearsed stories that may not seem to match to the circumstances, certainly subservient behavior, lack of holding their own travel documents.
Officials say victims can be of any age or gender, and the crime typically goes unreported because of shame and stigma, along with the bond that victims form with their captors, who are skilled at controlling their minds while monitoring their every move.
Unfortunately, from absolute infants, literally months old, all the way up to senior citizens do get trafficked. We see all sorts of cases of people being brutalized as they're being trafficked.
Once victims are saved, that's just the beginning, as they move on to a new life and start the long road to recovery and wellness.
We always try to offer them services. Within my staff, I do have a full-time victim assistance specialist. So it's helping to figuring out what resources they need and then talking to the non-governmental organizations and the faith-based organizations to make sure that we can align the available resources to what their needs are.
Chandrea Thomas, KGUN 9 on your side.